Hello and welcome to Virtually Speaking, the podcast where I showcase members of the VR community, sharing their talents and reminding the world that VR is more than just games, media, and work. It's home to a whole community of amazing humans. My name is JamesMaplejack, and with me today is SockoA24. Thank you for joining
Hello.
me today. How are you
Thanks for
today?
having me, James. I'm so good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. A little nervous for the first episode of Virtually Speaking, but I'm glad I have you here to share in this journey.
Wonderful.
So, in Virtually Speaking, I do want the focus of the conversation to be around VR and kind of our experiences with it, because I think there's a whole community of people out there that have a lot of either misconceptions or assumptions of what VR is, and
Right.
I think there's a lot of people here in VR that are really just genuine human beings living their life as they would in real life, just also in VR.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it. There's a person behind every avatar. Sometimes people do forget that, but we are real people, living our lives very modernly, if that's even a word. It is now.
Yes, yeah, it is. So I thought I would start off with the question. Well, I guess so. How long have you owned a VR headset?
It's been about 3 years now. I purchased it, played with it for 6 months, then did not touch it for another 6 months, and
Okay,
then decided one day to put it back on, and I have not taken it off since.
nice. So about 3 years you've had a VR headset.
Yeah.
Was your purchased headset the first time you ever went into VR, or did you try VR before that?
I tried those really rubbish ones that you get
Oh, the
from,
cardboard, the Google Cardboard
yeah,
things.
you put your phone in,
Oh yeah, okay. I mean
um, and yeah, and
VR.
it wasn't, yeah, right, and it wasn't great. And then I can't even remember what prompted me to buy an actual headset. I think it was more than likely a just an impulse purchase. And then yeah, just immediately as soon as I put the headset on, even the whole starting up menu blew my mind.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was wild just to see like hands, and it was mad.
That's crazy. So was your first VR headset the Quest 2 then?
It was, yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, my first question was going to be, what was your very first reaction when you put on a VR headset? You said that the like even the menus just kind of blew your mind. Do
Yeah,
you kind of
absolutely.
remember what kind of your thoughts were around that, or
My tiny mind was blown because I just remembered there was just a screen in front of me. I think I could maybe see my room behind it in black and white, but I was looking through my headset and looking at my in-world hands, and I was like, I have hands. It was like I was an alien that had just landed on Earth and was seeing things for the first time.
nice?
Um, yeah, it was amazing.
That's really cool. I mean, I remember the first time I put on a headset too, and even just the menu, that's what blew me away. Just the like the
Yeah,
home environment sort of thing. Um,
yeah.
but so do you remember when you got the headset? Was there something? I know you said it was probably an impulse buy. Do you remember if there was something you were like getting it for, or like was there a game or an experience or something that you're like, oh, I'd like to try that, and that's kind of what made you buy it? Or
I'm pretty sure I kept seeing Beat Saber all over TikTok.
okay,
And I thought that looks like a lot of fun. And then I purchased the headset, played Beat Saber maybe once, realized this is a lot of hard work, and then just wandered off. And I haven't been back since. Sorry, Beat Saber. You're a good app. I'm just quite lazy.
and I mean you are, but no comment. So was then Beat Saber probably your first game you played in VR?
Yeah, from memory. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Wow. Um, and obviously it was very hard work, and you
Yes.
weren't effing with that, so you chose to
No,
go and explore VR some more. Did you just go into
I
the
did.
store? What do you remember? What some
I
of your first experiences were?
Yeah, I went straight into big screen. And it was just movies, and that was wild because I'm not the sort of person that goes out a lot, especially to the movies. It was just amazing to feel like you were physically sat in a movie theater with other people watching a film together. And I would spend all of my time there, and I made a small group of friends there who would do karaoke at 2 a.m. UK time. They were all American. And that's when I really started to interact with Americans, because there's a lot of Americans on here.
Yeah.
And that was like a weekly thing I would look forward to all week, and just turn up there. In big screen, you don't even have legs. You're just like a torso and a head.
Okay. I mean, I think
And
even
that
back
was
then the meta avatars didn't even have legs
yeah,
either.
right, exactly. But even that was amazing. Like, I can change my hair color, and I can, just look however I want to look. And I was there for a couple of years, and then things got really quiet, and then I moved on to Meta Horizon Worlds, which
Okay.
is where my main bulk of VR experience
It's
really
kind of
lies.
started. So
Yeah.
for you mentioned you used the headset for, did you say about 6 months, and then you kind of went off it for a while? So for
Yeah,
that first
yeah.
6 months, was that a lot of the big screen VR?
Yeah, all big screen, yeah.
Okay.
And then it literally, when it went quiet, I just got bored. I
Yeah.
had nothing else to do, and then put it in the box for 6 months.
Okay. Interesting. So I guess 3 years ago, that probably would have been near the end of the COVID situation. Do you
Right,
think
yeah.
COVID would have been a big reason why you got the headset?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, everyone kind of forgot how to interact with each other
Yeah.
face to face. And the only way you could safely do that was this sort of situation, which is perfect for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think definitely coming out of it, I was kind of like, meeting people now is very dangerous and they can kill you. So I'm going to try and meet people where I can just be at home and not have to wear a hazmat suit.
Oh, exactly. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest benefits of VR in that situation, especially the COVID situation. You were able to visit with people and hang out and almost kind of have something that resembled real life.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
From the comfort of your home.
Right.
So now we don't have to say specific ages or anything like that. So about 3 years ago, about how old were you when you got your headset? Like I said, you don't have to say specifics. Maybe a decade.
Yeah, I was in my 30s, like
30s.
heading towards my mid 30s.
Okay. The main reason I wanted to bring that up is because I think there's probably a lot of people out there that think VR is only for kids.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I'm not even talking teenager, teenager, or even like under 13, because there are a lot of those around here, and a lot of the responses I get are like, wait, you're in your 30s, this is for
Right.
kids, you know what I mean? Like, why are you here? It's like,
absolutely,
this is for everyone. I mean, it doesn't, so I do want to try to normalize that there are various ages in here. I mean, I think I even met somebody in their 90s who was in VR and just hanging out, taking part of everything. And I mean, it allowed him to get out of quote unquote the house, you know what I mean, and experience life a little bit. And for those listening, I started VR when I was in my mid 30s as well. So yeah, so it's not just for the young kids, it's also for us older people too, and then we're not even old. So
yeah, exactly. Like I say, I work with people that are in their 70s and have only recently got a headset, and they're saying, I wish this was around 20 years ago, because it's amazing for them too. So imagine 20 years from now how advanced it's going to be. We're very much in the infancy of VR at the moment, and this time in 20 years we're going to look back and think this was hot garbage.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
how modern it's going to be.
You know how you go back to like the Nintendo 64 and you play those games now, and it's like, I thought this was the shit, like that this was like the top. I remember looking at like 007 GoldenEye from the Nintendo 64 thinking, this is real life, oh my god, it's so realistic. But you look back at it now and it's like, what are these two blocks with wonky arms doing? You know what I mean? And you're like, I can't play this.
Yeah, this pixelated mess that I was in love with.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what this is going to be back then, in the future. This is going to be that pixelated mess that what we'll be thinking. So you mentioned that you went away for 6 months, and then you ended up putting the headset back on.
Yeah.
Do you remember what drove you to put the headset back on after it was in the box for such a long time?
I think it was guilt because it was it was a very expensive headset,
Okay.
and it was sat there, and I was like, I really need to start making use of this because I paid a lot of money for it. Put it on, and my mum also had a headset because when I first purchased one, she kept borrowing it, and in the end, I was like, no, 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 this is mine. I'm going to buy you one.
Yeah.
And look, gentle encouragement from her as well to come back onto the headset. And then I did, and yeah, that's I think that's when Horizon Worlds was probably just launching, because I'm not sure if they had it in America first,
Yeah, so
but
I'm pretty sure they had it in America for years, but you're right. It
yeah,
only came to the UK. I think it was
year and a half ago
2020. Yeah,
maybe.
year and a half ago, like
Yeah,
2024, 2025
yeah,
ish.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it was still quite new in the UK.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So when you picked up the headset again, and that's basically where you went.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you try big screen beyond big not big screen whatever it's called?
Yeah, big screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been back, and now that's it doesn't interest me anymore.
Okay.
Because now I can see how good VR can be.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's like very much like basic level.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still great for what it is, but I just get it with Horizon Worlds in particular. The avatars are very expressive, and you can dress them how you want to, and there's just a lot more to kind of go off.
Yeah. No, definitely. So you got into Horizon Worlds.
Mm.
Do you blah 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 blah. How did you find Horizon Worlds going in for the first time?
First of all, it was shocking because the first game I fell into was Spin the Bottle.
Oh God.
And I don't know if you've played that, but it is full of children who say the most out of pocket things.
Yeah.
Before I even opened my mouth, they would just tear me apart from my hair to my clothing to how old are you? 95? Because they can see I was grown up in my profile. And yeah, and that was pretty much it for a bit. And then I just started world hopping and landed in a couple of places that I would frequent often.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, but my first experience of Horizon Worlds was, this is terrible. This is for the children who
Yeah.
are bullying me. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm in my mid-30s. Why am I scared of a 10-year-old? You know?
Yeah. Definitely. And I think there are a lot of people out there, adult wise, who do pop into places like VRChat or Horizon Worlds, maybe even
Yeah,
big screen, and then it's just a bunch of kids around, and they're like, "Why
yeah,
do I want to be here?"
exactly.
I mean,
Yeah,
I've been in the social VR community for a while now, and you do get a lot of comments from people who are 18 plus saying, "I just want to pop in and find some people to vibe with and just chat with, and
mm,
have normal conversations without these kids just screaming in your face, trying to kiss you, trying to
absolutely. Yeah,
racial
yeah,
slurs every second word. It's crazy.
yeah.
And I mean, I do understand that. You do just kind of, after a hard day at work, you want to put on the headset and maybe find a new friend or anything, but it is hard, and especially if you don't know what to look for when you start VR.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, you went into Horizon Worlds, you started world hopping. You found a few places that were okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember what some of those were that you ended up frequenting and kept you kind of coming back a little bit?
There was a couple of the late night improv groups.
Oh yeah.
One there's a lady called Lisa Stano, I believe, and she did like a Friday night thing in her own world that she'd built. And then there was like whose line is it anyway world.
Okay. Yeah.
And I would just kind of like hang out with these people, and it was the first time that I'd met a group of adults who were kind of like me and in the same had the same interests. And it was really cool that they were American and they were up. I'm a night owl, so
Yeah.
2 a.m. for me is like really early for them still, and then that really worked for me. Um, and then eventually I stumbled across the Soapstone Comedy Club,
Yes.
and yeah, and I say this all the time, but I had the same experience there. It was full of children who were just running around and screaming and just being kids, enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
Um, and then I went back there to do. They'd hold a $1,000 audition night every Monday for comedy,
Mm,
and I didn't really do comedy on stage before. I've been writing for a little while, like trying to be funny my entire life, for attention, but not really getting anywhere with it.
yeah.
And then I was watching these people do their auditions, and I wrote a quick something. I plagiarized a lot of stuff from the internet, to be honest, and I just went up in there and did it and got through to the finals for the first time. And I was like, wow, this is something I could potentially do. And then it just kind of snowballed into what it is now, of me being a VR host here and there, and doing all sorts of stuff that I would never have done if I'd not brought the headset first of all, but then stepped into the Soapstone.
Of course. Now, for those who don't know, me and Socko actually met at the Soapstone.
We did.
I think the first time I remember meeting you, you were at one of those comedy audition nights doing your set,
Yeah.
and then I think you.
And you didn't laugh at all, no?
No, definitely didn't laugh at all. And then I think we probably, because at that point I was volunteering at the Soapstone, and you probably came to a bunch of the events, and I remember you were probably one of the very few British people I remember meeting in VR, which is, I think, one of the reasons why I kind of like sought you out a little bit, and you had some really good vibes, and so that's kind of how we met, for those who are interested.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, I can't remember where I was going with all this, but yeah, so that's how me and Socko met. So a lot of this Soapstone early journey stuff, I think you and I are kind of a big part in each other's journey in VR.
Yeah, definitely.
So you did mention that. So you hung out at these improv groups, Whose Line Is It Anyway type rooms in Horizon Worlds, and you mentioned meeting some people who with similar interests. Was the similar interest the comedy side of things, or just yeah, of course. And now we are back because Socko is getting spam. So, Socko, so what I believe I asked was, so you first spent your time in some of these improv worlds, Whose Line Is It Anyway worlds, and met some other adult comedians, I guess. And you mentioned having similar interests with these people. Was it specifically the comedy that the similar interest was, or was it just kind of, oh, these were people I got to know because we're all adults and we like comedy and we like VR and things like that?
Yeah, it was people with a personality, so it's kind of like adults who had not been had their soul sucked by the world yet.
Yeah.
I'm one of these people, and it was I'm a complete theatre kid, so any chance to be around people that are quite loud and show offy and not scared to make an idiot of themselves in public
is definitely a win.
My vibe, baby.
Nice.
That's what I'm all about.
And then you made your way to the Soapstone,
yes.
And were you drawn there because of the events in general? Or I mean, I think you were world hopped and you found it, and there were kids. Obviously, you found out there were events there.
Yeah.
Was it specifically the comedy contest that drew you to it?
Initially, yeah. I'm pretty sure somebody from one of the improv worlds actually told me about it, and then I just started to go to every single show because with VR it becomes very addictive very quickly.
Yeah.
So I was literally there all the time at all the shows, and I just kind of get used to everyone. I met an amazing group of people.
Yeah.
And the whole Soapstone thing has really led me to the opportunities that I'm getting now. So now I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing comedy, and I made my way up from being one of their producers to a mentor, and I'm now the lead of Hanalei Bay. So we have two different versions of the Soapstone. One is Hanalei Bay, that is the all ages world, and then we have another quite brand new 18 plus version, where literally it's just adults that are allowed there. And again, they have all the shows they had at Hanalei Bay, but now it's more of an adult hangout theme. But Hanalei Bay is now sort of my jurisdiction, and I kind of take care of everything there. It is for all ages, but the majority of them are under 18.
Yeah,
And I just get on well with the kids because it's so nice to have a place for them to kind of express themselves and have all these games and
of course.
opportunities that I didn't particularly have when I was a kid that I would have loved.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's just amazing to see their confidence growing as well. And I say this a million times a day, but I always want to be the adult that I needed at their age. So
Yeah.
I think if I can just be there, just to kind of encourage them or tell them, you did really well, that could change their confidence from I'm never doing this again to I want to do this forever. So
Exactly.
I love it.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for your hard work on that.
Oh, thank you.
But speaking of confidence, I remember when we first met, your confidence was pretty low. And
Yeah.
to be fair, mine was too. Um, and I think both you and I have come quite a long way in the,
Yeah.
at this point, we're probably going at 9 months of knowing each
Yeah,
other,
thereabouts.
something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Wow. So we met in September, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember us being very nervous, talking about potentially hosting events and kind of being like, no, don't really want to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Um, not really wanting to being okay going on stage and doing short performances. I
Yeah.
mean, you'd do your proper attempt at comedy, which you succeeded at, in my opinion. And
Thanks.
sorry, I know all those words are terrible. And then me just making a fool of myself on stage. Um, that's
Yeah.
basically what it was. And
Exactly.
I mean, I think over time we've gained a lot of confidence through just little baby steps over the months.
Yeah.
And I think that's for anyone out there listening who feels like they don't have the confidence, I think those little baby steps, going on stage and just even saying hi and then walking off is still a big step. I
Oh, of
mean,
course it is. Yeah.
in VR we do have, and I think this is what helps me a bit more. I am very uncomfortable talking in front of groups of people and being kind of like the center of attention. For me, the headset is a barrier enough to help me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
I know
Yeah.
for some people out there that the going in front of people in the headset and off the headset are basically the same thing, and it's nerve wracking, and you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I do recommend anyone out there, if you can even just go on stage and say hi, and then walk off. That's still a massive step. Find a good
Of course
community
it
of
is.
people who will help support you. Going on stage, here in StageTime, VRChat, wherever, and even singing a song, speaking the words of a song, reading a
Yeah.
poem, telling a joke. It's all good. Um,
Absolutely.
and just doing those baby steps. And yeah, and then I think, yeah, you and I were just volunteering all the time for, producing shows.
Yeah.
I think I filled in for a few host shows.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I got a bigger confidence into doing all this.
Definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, you've definitely come a long way in
I think
your
I
journey.
have. Back during the big screen days when people would speak to me, I would just freeze, like, do not look at me, do not speak to me, I'm not here. And even then, when I went to the Soapstone, I would hide in the producer booth all the time, just pushing the buttons and helping to run the show, but not being able to, not being seen.
Yeah, not being a face of the show, more
Right,
so being
exactly.
a support in the background.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
hidden. And then I remember you were hosting Sunday Shenanigans
Yeah,
with
yeah,
another host,
yeah.
and you were just like having the best time on stage, and you were so funny. And I remember thinking, I can never do that. You were just flowing like it was.
I mean,
And
I was making that up off the seam of my pants. I
you were
never.
convincing.
I think I do
Yeah,
put on a good convincing voice, but it's all just made up
right.
bravado. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I was
Um.
doing that, apparently doing
Yeah.
good.
You were doing really well. And then I just had a lot of encouragement from a few people there to shout out Lolly D, Meta Voice Sheehan, Perkasizer, who
Mm,
is an incredible person. I mean, they
yeah,
all are, but They were the first people that I really met that really encouraged me, and then I met you, and we just like clicked immediately. And then I was asked to stand in as a host for like half the show, and I said yes because I'm a people pleaser, but inside I was a panicking,
Yeah.
and I was like, and there's only there's like 5 people in the audience, but for me it might as well have been 50,000.
Well, of
You know,
course,
it
yeah.
was terrifying. And then I just got on stage. I think I made an absolute idiot of myself because with my comedy, generally, I've got it memorized and rehearsed, or I've got a script, so I don't have to worry when I'm on stage. But this was, I've got to make this up, and I've got to sound convincing, and I need to speak clearly. Can they understand my accent? Do they understand the dialect or the words that I might be using? Not realizing that they're not really used in America. So all this was going on in my head, and
Yeah.
meanwhile I had to just pretend I knew what I was doing on stage.
Yeah.
Um, and that's where it started, and I loved it. It was like when you go skydiving, and that was terrifying, but I really want to do it again.
Yeah, yeah.
And then and now I can't get off the stage.
I
But
mean, yeah.
you're a big part of that because the encouragement that you gave to me and we generally gave to each other.
Yeah.
Mainly me sort of like peer pressuring you into doing stuff.
I mean,
Now,
yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's probably
It,
accurate. And to be fair, I think I peer pressured you a little bit too.
Yeah, but, but it's sometimes the push is all you need.
Yeah.
Someone to go, stop being a dick, just get up there and do it. Nobody cares. The worst case scenario, you make a fool of yourself, you take the headset off, and
you're at home.
No one,
you
yeah,
can put it away for a week
exactly.
and put it back on later. Honestly, no
Yeah.
one's going to remember a lot of these
Exactly.
quote
Yeah, you're
unquote
not
mess
that
ups.
important.
Exactly.
You're not that interested. Like, no, there's a million people on VR.
Yeah.
No one's going to notice if you make one mistake. But
Exactly.
yeah.
The fact that you show up. I mean, you are a big face in VR. Maybe not. You're not a huge face, not a big face.
Moon face.
Yeah. But like I'd say, VR events. I mean, there are a number of them out there, but there aren't a ton. It's not like in real life where you have comedy clubs everywhere and music venues everywhere, and here in VR there are a handful of places, but being British and in a UK time zone, there's almost nothing for the UK European audience.
Yeah.
A lot of it is purely American times.
Yeah.
So being one of the few British hosts, I'm trying to think of other British hosts. You might be the only British host.
Well, at StageTime we have Dom, of course.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, here at StageTime now we have actually a few other British.
Stevenson.
Yeah.
We
have a lot more here.
We've multiplied in numbers.
Yeah. But saying that, StageTime is probably one of the few places where a lot of the events are almost exclusively for the Europe audience.
Right.
I mean, we're definitely hoping and trying to branch out to some more American time zones, but at this point, it's one of the few places where there are more Europe-timed events than
absolutely.
anything.
Yeah, I was just so used to going to shows at 2 and 3 in the morning when I was just mainly hanging around in different worlds on Horizon Worlds.
Yeah.
It just became kind of natural that I'm going to be awake till 4 a.m. and I've got work at 9 a.m. But now I'm like, oh good, I can go to a show at 8 and then maybe 1 9 and 1 at 10. So I've got a whole evening.
Exactly.
And I don't have to worry about being terribly tired for work.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. So yes, you are one of the big faces of hosting in VR. So you do work in VR. So your relationship with VR is definitely different than a normal user.
Yeah.
Same with me, since I work in VR as well. But I would say a good percentage of people out there really mostly use VR for games. The Beat Saber. I have a friend who played Beat Saber almost exclusively, and then kind of stopped because there was nothing else to do.
Right.
Only thinking that Beat Saber is like the only thing.
Yeah.
There is a whole world out there.
Absolutely is. Yeah.
In VR, and for all of you that really only play games, there is a whole other world called social VR. And yes, social VR games. So some examples are VRChat, StageTime, Horizon Worlds, Big Screen. Although I don't know how popular Big Screen is anymore. But I'd say VRChat, StageTime, Horizon Worlds, Rec Room are some of the biggest.
Right. Yeah.
Although Rec Room is a bit more directed at the younger
Yeah,
audience.
the youngsters. Yeah.
But there is social VR. And one of the reasons for this podcast is I do want to showcase, the people of VR. And really, you do find a lot of that in these social VR spaces. So I know that you basically only picked up you're almost the opposite. You picked up VR. I mean, you picked up VR for Beat Saber, but you played a lot of the social VR.
Yeah.
And only until kind of we hung out did I start getting you actually playing non-social VR games.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah.
I just thought this is where you interact with people, and then it's the whole list of games that I would never have played otherwise.
Yeah. So I'm definitely pulling you out of the social VR. Now we have to try and pull you into the social VR.
Yeah.
So here, I want to ask you, what would 5 social VR experiences be that you would suggest to other people that you've enjoyed?
In regards to worlds or games? Or
worlds, games, events. I don't know, just 5 things that you would say, hey, this is in a social VR game. You can meet people, you can join your friends and enjoy what?
Well, my 2 that I tell everyone about is, of course, the Soapstone and StageTime. Both are pretty similar because it's mainly for people who want to express themselves throughout a number of ways. But other than that, they're my big 2 that I spend maybe 90% of my time in VR on.
Yeah.
Other social things. When I first dipped my toes into VRChat, I was terrified.
It is overwhelming.
Yeah, it really is. And going from Horizon Worlds, where everyone looks like a human, to the avatars at VRChat, where you've got a toaster speaking to a wolf who is sitting on top of Barack Obama. And it's just, I was like, what is happening? Am I having a medical episode? And it was just very loud and did not enjoy it. But now I know how to properly use it and how to use the tools to make people quieter or louder or whatever. I do recommend that. Maybe only certain areas. You do have to tread carefully.
VRChat, you do have to tread lightly. It is I compare, so Horizon Worlds I feel is like a generally safe space. I always called VRChat kind of like the Wild West of VR.
Absolutely.
Because you'll pop into a public room and not know what you're getting into. And it can be some of the most horrific stuff ever, and it can be some of the most amazing stuff ever.
Right. It's like Deal or No Deal.
Exactly.
You can get 1 penny or $1 million notes.
And I think as a new VRChat user, some of the hard parts is learning how to navigate the program. And for those people who are interested, who have tried in the past and got overwhelmed or anything like that, I do recommend going onto YouTube and YouTubing some people who spend their time in VRChat, because they're going to be able to help you find your way around. I will try to do some videos in the future, but for now, YouTube and YouTube, how to, some worlds to go to in VRChat.
Right, and you will come across other adults who are there to help you, or they're just generally there to be friendly.
Yeah.
And then when you come across those people, there's one adult in this sea of screaming children. That one adult can completely change how you see the VR world and what you can do and what works for you and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So generally there are a good bunch of people, but it's just finding them. So you will come across a lot of out-of-pocket comments, but then when you do meet up with an adult or with someone who's quite chill, they can really open your eyes to what is out there.
Yeah. So I guess then for those listening, would you have any suggestions of places people could go to find other adults or people generally calm enough to have a conversation with?
Um, Again, my go-to is always going to
Yeah.
be StageTime in the Soapstone.
StageTime and Soapstone.
That's pretty much mainly because that's my personal experiences of.
Yeah.
I mean, I've made incredible friends on both of these places,
Yeah.
and I've met you as well, and you're okay. But generally, I know there are probably more things like the games Dungeons of Eternity. I believe you can join,
You can join people, but
you
I
can join lobbies.
yeah.
And that might be one way if you don't particularly want to have an interaction or like a full conversation with somebody, but
Yeah.
you want to play alongside people.
Yeah.
That's maybe you don't have the confidence.
Yeah. And speaking through this now, I think probably at least in my experience is one of the best ways to meet calmer people or like-minded people is probably going to VR events. I think
Right.
that's probably the best place to start. You go and, you go to the events and you just watch maybe the first few times,
Yeah.
and then you get to know some faces, even if it's just from far. Or maybe you say hi and introduce yourself. And I think over time you do get to know these people and you can find
Yeah,
yourself a
definitely.
community to go into. So I mean going to some events might be the best
I agree.
suggestion.
And also, if you like, just follow people that you meet, because you're allowed to follow people on VR, but in real life, not so much. But
Yeah.
then you'll get used to see them popping up, and then you'll see they're in a certain world. And if you want to go in and hang out with them, meet more people, you can do that. I've got
Yeah.
people on my friends list that I have no idea who they are, but we friended each other for a reason because we had a small connection at one point.
Exactly. There's that the brief passing your acquaintances and you say hi and you
Right.
help each other out and then you friend each other and then you never speak again.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're still there. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that if we ever meet again, it'll be fine. It'll be great. Oh, we're following each other.
Yeah.
Oh, let's have a,
Yeah, exactly. It
but
has been, but yeah, but like you'll meet. It's like in real life, you meet people that you know for a day, and then you have the best day together, and then never speak again.
yeah.
So yeah, and
Yeah. We met at
this
that
is just
party once.
yeah, but except in VR, like their name is there, so if you forget the name, you just have to read their name
I
tag.
mean, that's one of the bonuses.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, you have to remember the voice and remember the name and you're good.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So we'll move on from this conversation. So maybe some of the people in VR. Can I ask what is the most meaningful friendship you have made in VR?
Now, I'm going to have to say you, not just because you're interviewing me. So, because when we met at the Soapstone, I was still very nervous. I would never start a conversation or join in. I would just like stand in a group of people and then hope that they would speak to me.
Mm,
Um, but you used to be happy when you'd see me, and I was like, that's nice. After being either ignored by people or given so much hate, based on my looks. I was like, oh, this is a person that is quite friendly, and I really get on with them. And then you tell me that you now live in the UK, and we just kind of started to hang out from there. And yeah, it's been like 9 months now, and I wouldn't be where I am now if it weren't for you, because you introduced me to StageTime ultimately. Thanks for that.
you're welcome.
But like I said, there's a whole group of people that I've met all over VR that I would happily meet up in real life if given the opportunity. Um, I would shout some people out, but I don't want others to feel left out, and I'll probably
Yeah,
forget.
no,
So,
no, yeah,
but
no, don't worry about that.
yeah, but even the younger people here that have under the age of 15 maybe, completely different generations, different interests, would never have met otherwise.
Yeah,
But it's nice to be able to watch their confidence grow as well, and
no,
feel like
definitely.
I'm part of helping them, where I would have loved to have been helped.
Yeah. Now you did mention you know being bullied in VR and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, can I ask you how do you handle being bullied in VR when you are
I'm
bullied?
I'm fine with it now. You just make a joke out of it, or just play along. Like I get a lot of homophobic comments because I wear rainbows. So
And
people,
Socko, please tell me, why do you wear rainbows?
because I love a rainbow. It's just
That's right.
bright,
Just
and I
because
love.
somebody has a rainbow on them doesn't mean they're LGBTQ plus whatever,
Right.
etc., etc. Maybe they just like rainbows.
I mean, I'm
Just
a
like people like
strong.
I was gonna say sheep, but that could be totally terrible at the same time. Just like people
Yeah.
like Jello.
Right. Right. And I am a strong ally with the LGBT plus community. But so when people throw these slurs at me, I don't get offended for me. I get offended for a whole group of people that
Yeah.
do not deserve to have any of that shit. They're just coming online to have fun, and then but that could really hurt me if I was a member of that community.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I kind of be accepted on the headset.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, like, I think it definitely helps me being in my late 30s. I just don't really care
Yeah.
these things that are thrown at me generally. Every now and then, like, there'll be something where I'm like, well, that is really, why would you say that to another human?
Yeah.
But I just block them, and then you can never have to think about them in your life ever again.
I know that is one of the benefits compared to real life and VR is you
Yeah,
just block them
exactly.
and then they're gone.
Yeah. It's better if you block them and then report them to Meta and get an email back to say, yeah, we found a violation.
Oh,
And
that's
you're like, yes.
amazing. It's like, I was right. They are a dick.
Yeah, it's validation from from the people that you need it from.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, speaking of fighting for people or feeling not being LGBTQ plus yourself, but when people bring that stuff up to you, feeling for them.
Yeah.
And I mean, VR is probably one. I mean, obviously, in normal social media, you can hide behind the screen and stuff, but I feel like in normal social media, you can kind of express yourself how you want to express yourself, but it's very 2D.
Yeah, absolutely.
As soon as you put on the headset and you can make your avatar however you identify or feel or want to be that day or who you feel as a person, it is so versatile in allowing you to be you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I have met a number of people who may have been born male or female and identify as the opposite
Yeah.
or neither, and they can come into VR and dress how they want to dress and act how they want to act.
Yeah.
And do it hopefully safely. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't bat an eye when, maybe you see a female avatar and a male voice comes out. It's like,
Right.
oh, they just want to dress like that.
Yeah.
Or, hey, and I mean, it doesn't even have to be the sense of they identify as a woman. Maybe they just want to dress as a woman because in a 2D video game, you dress as a woman because it's more attractive than the male. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
And that's what VR is about. It's virtual reality. It's like being able to. You don't have to live your life as you are. Yeah. You can be whoever or whatever you want to be.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of it. Even though you're a real person, but you're being represented just by this thing that you can change whenever you want to.
Exactly. And I mean, I think something VR can really show is the true person underneath it all. Because that's all you have, really. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have the fancy avatars and all this sort of stuff, but really it's just your personality coming through.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So, all you out there, everyone's a person behind their avatar.
This is true. Please remember that, because very often I'm mistaken for AI. So
I've been that too.
Yeah, so people would just, poke me or start screaming things at me to see if it triggers my, I don't know, whatever it is.
AI attack mode?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Attack mode, or just or getting the police involved. But yeah, absolutely. It like I say, people do forget there are people behind here, but we're all just ultimately people just trying to get through life, and this is just a place that we've stumbled across together, and nobody really knows what we're doing here. But we're finding
Yeah.
that together.
Yeah. So now we've hinted briefly that, I mean, VR is a place for you to be yourself. VR, because of the reasoning of VR. Let's say for me, in real life, I'm a lot more nervous on stage than in the VR headset. So there is a slight difference between real me and VR me. But really, honestly, what you see is what you get with me. That's just who I am, and that's it. But other people might be able to express themselves more in VR, rather than real life, because of pressures or home life or school or whatever it is. How do you feel about your real life self outside of VR and your in VR self? Do you feel like there is a difference between the two, or?
I think I'm pretty much myself wherever. I'm just a bit of a loudmouth that likes to show off a little bit. In real life, I am disabled. My legs don't work as well as they could, and so standing up for long periods of time just doesn't work for me. But here, I can do a show on stage and be stood up avatar-wise for an hour,
That's amazing.
and not feel anything, and it's nice just to feel quote unquote normal or able-bodied,
Yeah.
as I would love to do. And also in some worlds you can jump, and I haven't jumped since the 90s. So it's nice to be able to be here, there, and everywhere. But yeah, but I think definitely personality-wise, yeah. I mean, generally, my hair is the same. I have pink and green hair in real life. I wear a lot of colours generally, but here the outfits are just a lot cooler and cheaper.
Definitely cheaper.
Yeah.
I don't think I paid for this suit.
No,
I'll be honest with you.
And in VR, I never have to retouch up my roots or style my hair. It's just perfect.
No laundry.
Right, but in real life, that is very much not the case.
No, that is true. That is true.
Yeah,
but at least I
sometimes
can't
sat
smell
there
you.
and, right, exactly. Yeah, until they invent that
Oh yeah,
level,
until they
maybe like in 10 years' time. But it's really funny because I could be sat there in my SpongeBob SquarePants pajamas and I haven't washed my hair for a week, and and then face to face meeting people in real life, I'd be like so self-conscious of that. But here, I'm like, hey, they've got no idea. I'm wearing this today.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, can I ask, would you be willing to talk about your experiences with VR while having a physical disability in real life?
Yeah, it just allowed me to live in a way that I would never have lived without it. Before, I mean, during the pandemic in particular, I just stopped leaving the house. And then not really much has changed since then. I just become so comfortable at being at home, working from home. My social life is pretty much dead in the water now, and I was happy with that because I thought I don't need a social life. But now putting the headset on, and I can just meet people and socialize and do things like this and entertain people and just express myself that way, get this out of me in a way that I definitely cannot do in real life.
Yeah.
Like I say, just moving from place A to B in real life, it takes a lot of planning and it's painful. But every time I'm standing up, I'm in pain. And some people would look at this and say, well, it's just a game, nothing's real. But the life experiences that I've had and the people that I've had, I've always wanted to do, but it was not obtainable until this came along.
Until the whole VR headset.
Right, so it's definitely been a life changer for me, and I don't really know where I'd be or who I'd be if I'd not bought the
splurged on a Quest 2.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I hate spending a lot of money all at once, and I think it was a lot of money.
Yeah, back then I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, and I would never just spend that amount of money on a whim, but I did, and there was a reason. There's a reason for everything. I genuinely believe that, and it's led me up to today, being interviewed by you.
Yeah. So, saying all that, yes, there are a lot of things you can do in VR that you maybe aren't able to do as easily in real life. And through our friendship and hanging out, I've noticed there are obviously key moments as you explore VR that are just mind-blowing. It's like, I can do this, or I experience this. Are you able to share maybe some top experiences you've had in VR that maybe either you've not wouldn't be able to do in real life, or just experiences in VR that you just think are mind-blowingly awesome?
There's a couple. There's some of the places that you can go to where it feels like you're actually in that country or in that environment. One of my I used to spend a lot of time on YouTube 360.
Okay, yeah.
And it was like, I am in Rome, I am in Venice, I am walking through a forest. But the biggest thing for me, fairly recently, I entered the Soapstone $1,000 comedy auditions, and I won $1,000, and I got signed to an agency that helped me set up my first gig with the Soapstone, where I got to open for Gianmarco Sorosi, who is a big American comedian. And they have famous comedians coming in, and to open for one of them, and he's got like the best part of 1 million followers on Instagram.
Wow. Yeah.
So I was terrified. And to open for him for 10 minutes was, I would never ever had that opportunity.
Yeah.
So that was a really big one. And also, I mean, working at StageTime, I just love to be a fool on stage, and I get to do that for a couple of hours per week, and people seem to enjoy it. And you know, it's a big boost for me in my confidence, and feeling like I'm finally good at something in my life. When I spent, you know, I think everyone goes through times where they're like, I can't do this and I can't do that, and I'm never going to be good at anything. But now I kind of feel like I found my calling, and why I'm supposed to be here.
That's amazing, and congratulations on winning that amazing opportunity. I mean, yeah, you got the money, but I mean, getting signed at an agency and getting to open for a quote unquote professional comedian is amazing.
Right, exactly. That's it. And I just remember being backstage, and I was terrified, like I was actually there. My heart was racing. And that's going to be shown in a couple of months. That's going to be shown at the Soapstone on their big screens, and people can come along and watch what I did. So
that's amazing. And I mean, that I'm pretty sure that's open to all ages, because you can see that in any lobby.
Yeah, absolutely.
So keep an eye out at the Soapstone for SockoA's big show.
Right, I'll be putting that on my social media the week I know it's going to go out, so I can gently remind people.
Perfect.
And then just never shut up about it.
Hey, extra!
Remember that thing I did?
Yes, you told me yesterday. How about you tell me tomorrow?
I'll tell you again in 10 minutes. I'm like that.
Okay, so going away from all this, now we're going to talk about the potential complications of VR and real life. So, now, you know real people, non-VR people.
Yeah.
How do you explain to them that you go into a headset and A, do a job, but also B, just hang out with friends?
I'm very much aware every time I try and tell people, I sound like a lunatic. Because I'm like, all right, so it's this thing that you spend a lot of money on, but it's okay. And then you strap it on your face, and then you can dress like an avatar, and you meet people, and they're like, you've been drinking again, haven't you? And like, yeah, granted I have. But it's very difficult to really express what VR is unless you know you know.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people just see what they see on the internet and think it's you're
all
just
Beat
playing.
Saber.
Yeah,
and...
exactly. It's all these little games that and it's all, everyone's fake and you're speaking to a robot. But I try my best to explain that it's real people. I've made real friends, and I'm having experiences that I would never have had without this. But I try my best, but again, you really have to experience it to fully understand it.
Yeah.
And I would love to buy everyone a headset, but I'm not made of the old money. But if I was, I'd be like, everyone, put these on. The real world.
You get a headset. You get a headset.
Right.
You get a headset.
Why are you looking at the world around us that's on fire, where you can be, in here and have the wonderful outfits and just pretend like none of that is happening.
Exactly. I mean, and you
Yeah.
could have a foot bath the whole time you're doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. You can sit
Yeah.
down, you can stand up, you can like if you really wanted to throw the boat out, some people pay a lot of money for those pads that you can walk on. It's like a
Oh
round
yeah, yeah,
thing. And
yeah.
then every
The
direction they're like physically walking and they haven't left their living room, but your brain is telling you that you have.
exactly.
So it is very difficult to like to really get across to people and the money aspect of it as well. But
Yeah.
ultimately, I recommend the hell out of it to anyone.
So if you obviously recommending it to everyone, I think as most of us do. Um, what would you say would be a good, safe first experience to show people in VR? Like if you were to have your friend over and say, "Hey, look at my VR,"
Mm.
and put it on their head, what would you put on for them to experience?
Ah man, there's something quite gentle. There are a lot of worlds that you can search for in Horizon Worlds, and you can type in keywords. So if you were looking for cafe or hotel or whatever,
Mm,
you can just kind of choose your own setting. But um, I'm not saying this because I'm biased, but it will be the Soapstone or StageTime, purely because I know they're safe areas, and
yeah.
that's where generally you'll meet quite a good group of people who will be very kind. Absolutely not VRChat for the first
Oh
experience.
no,
'Cause
never.
that will
You know what? I think bringing somebody into VRChat, if you're showing them a world or experience in a private room,
right.
can be
Yeah,
like a very
absolutely. Yeah,
impactful
yeah.
first time. But I agree, not like general VRChat. Like, hey, let loose in VRChat. You don't want to do that.
No. But if you're going to introduce people, I think you can find literally any world that you enjoy and take them to a private instance, because then it's you and them. You can just show them around, get them used to the idea of, because it's trippy when if they're brand new to it, their mind is already going to be racing with 1,000 things. But to add a group of people onto there that they don't know, that can be quite loud. It can be very overwhelming. So yeah, literally pretty much every world you can go in there privately. So that might be a good place.
Nice.
Um, and and yeah, if you bring them here, you can choose their favorite songs and just have a little private world with them.
Yeah.
And then gently ease them into it.
If now, if you were to give them an actual VR game to play,
An actual game. Oh,
an
okay.
actual now it just as a separate option. If you were to give them one VR game to play, what one do you think you would give them?
Maybe walkabout mini golf.
Walkabout mini golf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. It's just very, very gentle and relaxing, and you feel like every time you get the hole in one or whatever, it's like a real achievement.
Yeah, it is, especially for you.
Yeah, exactly. Because I honestly, I used to be so bad at that game, and I'm not the best now. But remember when
Hey,
we
we played the
first
new
started to
map, and
play
you definitely beat me
twice?
both times.
But remember the first couple of weeks, I was awful, and I'd
You
be
were horrendous.
yeah, and I'd be losing my rag. It's like I can't do it. But that's a very nice, gentle game. If you're into more like action kind of games, you introduced me to Medieval Dynasty New Settlement, which I
That's right. Yep.
very became addicted to, and now I'm just so proud of my little village that I've got running. I'm like, I did this, and yeah, and it's just a lot of fun. One that I would never have played is Dungeons of Eternity,
Okay. Yeah.
because I don't really like games where I'm being chased or I need to fight. But
Yes.
that's a great one. So if you're into sort of like the more combaty um, games like that, I would definitely recommend that. That's a pretty good one.
Now, I do actually remember early on you saying you really don't like being chased.
Yes,
And I
absolutely.
remember early on there were like a few games or experiences or something where there was a light form of that, and I could tell that you were like not having it.
Yeah.
Do you by chance remember what experience or game exposure therapy wise got you a bit more comfortable with it?
Ah, man, I think it was just keep going in and
Mm,
trying to get a little better each time. I can't remember any particular games that I started to become comfortable. I mean, maybe you can remember what games
Well,
do you think
I
played
want.
first?
Do you think it might have been Super Rumble in Horizon Worlds?
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because I mean, yeah, it's like PvP, and it was like you, me, and a friend or two playing it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm wondering if that kind of helped because I mean, I was definitely probably the better one out of the group, and I just kept
Of course.
chasing all of you
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
down. So I was wondering if that might have been what kind of helped fix that for you a
Yeah.
little bit.
Definitely. I
I
haven't
mean, I
played it for
know
a while, but
certain games you definitely it is definitely too much for you, but I think
mm,
certain experiences you've gotten used to.
yeah, it was. It became just like having a laugh with it and trying to shoot each other,
Yeah.
um, and just like really laughing about it afterwards, and then getting a little bit good at it, and then dying 1,000 times, but then getting 7 kills and thinking, oh, I'm getting this right, and then you've got 40 at the end, and I'm like, all right, whatever, take the shine off me, James. But yeah, it's kind of it's so weird because your brain naturally tells you to get out of dangerous situations. And VR is the absolute same. You know, you run from noises and loud people.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, but no, that definitely helped me just see the fun of it rather than I'm being chased and I don't like this. I need to get away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's really good. So I want to know, what is the maximum hours you have spent on the headset in one time?
God, I too long. I mean, honestly, genuinely, it became a problem for a bit. And my headset would get very hot, and I'd think it's going to catch fire, but I want to play one more game. And then
Yeah.
6 hours would pass, and I'd be like, well, I'm not dead now, so I might as well just carry on. But yeah, I can't remember in particular a time to and from,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is pretty much all of my waking hours now. And
So
even when I'm supposed to be in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning,
on the headset.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
So do you think you have done over 12 hours in one go before?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Do you think you have done over 18 hours?
Probably not 18 because I would
Yeah.
have needed a little nap in between.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean now I've got a wire where my headset is constantly charging and I'm using it, so the battery never runs out. If it did, I would have to put it down and charge it, but because I don't, I can just spend hours, and you do lose hours
Oh,
on
you
headset.
definitely lose hours. It's
Yeah,
it's definitely the typical, social media doom scrolling or
yeah,
those little, if anyone's played like Vampire Survivors mobile games things where it's
yeah.
just one more, just one more.
Mm,
VR is definitely definitely like that, especially once you get the bug, you know what I mean?
absolutely, that's
And
it.
especially once you get social VR. Okay, so let's say you go to the pub or you're at a youth group thing or whatever, and you just start chatting with people, and you don't want the night to end, and you kind of just keep going.
Yeah.
That happens all the time.
Yeah, and in real life, the night has to end because either the venue closes,
Exactly.
or you run out of money, or you get too
Exactly.
tired.
I don't see nighttime or daytime here. I have blinders on, literally blinders. I will
Yeah.
lift the headset once in a while, and then I'll realize, oh, it's 6 a.m. and it's light out.
Oh, well, the birds that I could hear, I thought were on the headset, and those real
Yeah.
life. They're out there at
No,
my
it's
window.
real life. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. My skin can feel some heat.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the sun.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just think, wait, one more game, I'm awake now. And the time zones really make a difference as well.
Oh,
Um,
dude, that
yeah,
is one of the biggest difficulties I have had in VR.
yeah.
Specifically being a European time zone user.
Hmm.
Everything, and I mean everything, is in American time zones.
Everything, yeah.
And for us here in the UK, that's at least a 5 hour difference, 6 hour
Yeah,
difference.
absolutely. Yeah, that's it. So, whereas I used to have to get to bed, even on the weekend, I'm like, oh, it's 2 a.m. I need to go to bed. Now I'm like, oh my God, it's 2 a.m. My night can start, and
Exactly. I
it's,
mean, that's when all the events start
yeah,
in America. That's when the comedy show's on. That's when this thing's on. Oh, there's some live music over there. I want to go see that show.
exactly. Yeah,
It's all, at least for
it's a
us,
little
at
bit
that 2,
like
3 a.m.
you remember being a kid and you've got your parents have got their friends around and you need to go to bed at 9 p.m. But downstairs you can hear them having a laugh and playing music, and you were just so jealous and you wanted to be part of that. It's the same now. Like I need to get to bed because I've got work, but then I'm like, but they're playing, and I want to play with them, and
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
So if you could bring one thing to VR, like have a VR experience that you haven't experienced yet, what would that thing be?
Oh my god, I can't wait until they find a way to make you physically feel more like you're there.
Yeah.
I just environmental things, or if they can somehow, I don't know, like have wind blowing at you if you're standing on top of a mountain or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the more of a physical thing.
More environmental realism, I guess, in some
Yeah,
way, shape, or form.
yeah, exactly. That's it. Because I know that, granted, I'm expecting too much for it to be perfectly realistic.
Yeah.
But if I could have an experience where, if I wanted to walk to my local Tesco and find out what they've got on offer, it's all going to be like in real time.
Yeah.
And then I could do my online shop that way. I would love that.
Yeah. I mean, that would actually be really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now getting into some of the hardware sort of stuff. Currently, today, which headset are you using?
The Quest 3.
Okay. Do you use the stock head strap or do you use another head strap?
I've got the battery extender. I'm pretty
Uh,
sure it's the Meta. God, what's
Elite
it called?
strap, I think
Yeah,
it's
the Elite
called.
Strap. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm pretty sure it's that one I've still got. And yeah, I use that one, but I do have
Perfect.
the original still. I'm scared to throw it
Um,
away just in case.
yeah. Oh, I mean, I think it's always good having a backup anyway.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
So, for your controllers, do
Mhm.
you use your little dangly wrist straps?
Yes, absolutely. It feels wrong.
Absolutely.
It feels wrong. It feels like being in a car with that seatbelt on.
Yeah.
I'm the sort of person, even when I'm parked up, my belt needs to be on because my brain tells me that's what you have to do. And if I'm holding my controllers without the straps around, it feels wrong. It's like having your phone without a phone case, even though I know that's what you do. That's
I
weird
know
to
what
me.
you mean. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, the amount of times I could have smashed things, but luckily these little strings have, helped me, saved me.
Oh,
Whoa.
good. All right, Mr. Fantastic. So, then on to, and I mean, I know this question is insensitive. Do you play most of the time sitting or standing?
Always sitting,
Always
exclusively
sitting.
sitting. Always.
And then, you mentioned are you almost always plugged into the headset, or do
Always.
you unplug it, let it drain a bit, and then plug it back in, sort of thing?
Generally, it's always plugged in because I tend to spend a lot of hours.
Yeah.
And as the battery percentage decreases, my anxiety increases.
Oh,
It's
yes,
the
good,
same with
good,
my
good.
phone. Like
Yeah,
if it gets below 50, I'm like, so for my own sanity, I keep it plugged in.
good. Do you have any other VR hardware, peripherals, anything that you have bought that you think has improved your VR experience or necessary for your whatever?
There's a couple of things that I want to get. I want to get the prescription lenses for it. So
Yeah,
if not, I'm short sighted. So generally, I only need my glasses for things that are far away. But here it's fine. You know how short sighted works. You don't need me to tell you that. But yeah, I would like to buy them. I mean, I would imagine my experience may be way clearer once I have them, but I just don't realize at the moment.
yeah.
And I think that's pretty much it. I've got a really cool carry case
Okay.
because it's an expensive bit of equipment. You need to keep it safe. You can buy them. There's so many on Amazon.
Yeah.
But I don't particularly have any other fancy.
Okay.
Do I ever told you about things I've maybe bought that I've forgotten about?
No, I don't think so. That's why I
Yeah.
asked. So I mean, I know you have your carry case, and I know you don't leave the house.
Yeah.
I mean, you do leave the house, but you don't take it. You take your headset anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you put your headset away in its case every night?
Yeah, I always have to. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because I'm just so paranoid now about something happening to it.
Yeah.
Because this isn't just game anymore. I work on social media. I work on VR, and this is my entire social life. It's my pretty much my entire life outside of work and family and friends or whatever.
Yeah,
So
you got your home life and your VR life,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
basically.
I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm a whole different person. You know, just in a different dimension of life.
Yeah. Okay. If you had to, if somebody was like VR stupid,
Hmm.
is there anything you think you would want to say to them? Um, I mean, obviously they've gotten this far in the podcast, so they're not. This doesn't matter because they would have turned it off by now.
Yeah.
But if somebody has lasted this long, what's one thing you would say to somebody who's like, I don't know about VR. That sounds stupid.
I just give it a go. Honestly, you don't have to splash the money out. Maybe one of your friends has got a headset. Just
Yeah.
spend 10 minutes of it. You might get a little motion sick, but that will pass. But just give it 10 minutes and ask them to recommend somewhere for you and see if you like it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But if you
Yeah.
even enjoy it a little bit and you can find yourself, being more intrigued by it, just like most things in life, just give it a go. If it's not for you, then at least you'll know. You know.
I know. I know. I know. I know. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Oh my god, Into the Dark by Death Cab for Cutie.
Nice. That's a
Mm.
great song. And now, before we wrap up, SockoA24, is there anything you would like to share? Any upcoming projects, events, or where people can find and follow you online?
Of course. So I can be found at Soapstone. I've got a couple of shows there. I do trivia every Tuesday, and I do Soapstone Junior every Saturday. My trivia is 3 p.m. Eastern Standard on a Tuesday or 8 p.m. UK time. Soapstone Junior is 11 a.m. Eastern Standard, which is 4 p.m. UK time. And then at Stage Time, I can sometimes be found to do Mystery Monday, which is every Monday at 9 p.m. UK time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And Trivia Takedown with this guy every Thursday at again 9 p.m. Eastern time, 9 p.m. UK time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. And I do Karaoke Blast every Saturday at 8 p.m. UK time, which is 3 p.m. Eastern Standard. And then you'll generally find me at all the shows here anyway because I can't stay away, and I just enjoy being here. But I do comedy as well. So social media wise, mainly I'm on TikTok, and that is SockoA24. And I put my comedy on there. I do put a lot of promotional videos for my shows as well. So yeah, check me out. I'm trying to get all modern and go where the kids
Modern and
go.
hip and,
Exactly, yeah. So
you know.
I maybe should update my MySpace account once every now and then as well.
Oh,
But
yeah, MySpace, MySpace,
yeah,
MySpace, MySpace,
for
MySpace.
sure, for sure. I'm gonna go into findafriend.com. What was it called? No, Friend Finder. Remember that? No,
No, I
no.
never
What
used
was
that.
that? Yeah. Oh my god. I'm trying to find friends from primary school when now you can literally put the headset on and you might meet your friends from 20 years ago on here as well.
Small world.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's
You just
never
don't
happened
know.
to me yet, though, but
You don't know though.
that's true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I just want to. And I know you do have a lot of short notice shows, comedy shows
Yeah.
around the place. So I don't think you do let people know about that on your socials, but
No, I
maybe
don't
in the
tend
future
to
she
let them
will.
know. Yeah, I need to get better at being brave enough and realizing that people give a shit
Actually want to see
and actually
you
wanna
comedy.
wanna see me. But I'll be sure to posting it on my socials. Look out, and I'll see you there. Probably, maybe. Please come along.
Fantastic!
Yay!
Okay, I'll make sure to include those links in the description. And thank you again for joining me today for the very first episode of Virtually Speaking. I want to thank everyone listening
Yes, thank you.
and thank you for being a part of my VR journey, but also this journey. Now, virtually speaking is all about celebrating the creativity and connection that make VR more than just technology. It's a community.
Absolutely, yeah. And
So
I couldn't agree more. And my only advice is give it a go. Please, you're more than welcome.
You heard it here first. Give it a go. Bye!
Bye bye.